The adult beverages are poured, the kids are asleep. Welcome to New Dad Gaming, a show about fatherhood, gaming, and new fathers figuring out their gaming lives. My name is Trevor, and I have a 3-year-old and an almost 1-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old.
Very apropos with the adult beverages truly being poured this week. The bringing back of the beer pick of the week, which we're incredibly excited about. Finally an excuse to drink beer. It's been a while.
Now's the time.
Yeah, but we'll get into that segment a little bit later. Welcome to the show, everybody. Jeff, how has your week been in fatherhood and gaming?
So fatherhood's been exhausting. I'll be straight up.
That's not this week. That's just fact. Like, that's just life.
No, it's true. Yeah, that's fact. Specifically this week because we're on vacation, my wife and I, and when we take vacation, it's just staycation. So we're at home with the kids, and we decided to save a week on sending them to camp and have them home with us.
Yeah, so I'll stop you there. That's not vacation.
No, it's not. It's mom and dad camp. That's what that is. So we've been busy, trying to entertain them every day. And yesterday, actually, is when gaming came in to kind of save the day, which was awesome.
Finally.
And
one day.
It was, my son had a couple friends over, and, both my sons could play with these other kids, and they were all over. They were kind of jumping up the walls and running around and nothing to do. We had a water balloon fight outside. Mm-hmm. We did sidewalk chalk. It's like we burned through everything we could a little too quickly.
Hold on. Okay, now was this arranged by the other parents? So, like, are you all the other parents kind of cycling this so that you're all going to give the burden, or just...
No, this was just basically, kids. Well, it was a nicety to a friend where they had a dentist appointment, they had to run out.
Okay.
And so we're like, we'll take your kids, that's fine. So we did that for a couple hours, and again, we were burning through all these activities with nothing to do, and they were all getting bored. We were starting to do crafts, they were not liking it. You could tell that they're like getting like...
They didn't want to do the macaroni rainbows. Like,
we don't want to do this. Yeah, we don't want to do this anymore. We don't want to do it. So I'm like, all right, well, why don't we sit down and play a video game? So the ages range from 8-year-olds and 5-year-olds. So kind of 2 of each. Mm-hmm. So I needed to pick a game that was appropriate, that kind of everybody could play almost at the same time or switch off or whatever. No one likes Mario Kart, apparently. So we didn't play Mario Kart. Yeah. Kids nowadays, there's something wrong with them. So these kids that were over did not like Mario Kart. That was the first strike. This is how I know it was going to go.
House. You're done.
Yeah. Leave.
Actually, tell me you don't like GoldenEye. Like, what is this?
I don't know.
What world is this?
Well, they're mentioning all sorts of other games they play, like Battlefront. I'm like, we're not playing Battlefront.
They play Battlefront.
Yeah, online too. So we're not doing that. So I found a game that I used to play with my family called Lovers in a Dangerous Spacetime.
Get out!
Which is a indie title from here in Toronto. And it fit the bill. So you had, if anybody's unaware, this little game, you have a spaceship, and each player is a kind of a player in the game that has to control a part of the spaceship. So one has to pilot it, one has to do the weapons. Multiple people can do the weapons. One has to do the shield, and then there's a map. And so there's all these little ports that you run across the ship trying to navigate these levels. So the kids had a blast with it. So
awesome.
It was a cool, like, come together moment, and it was all a cutesy thing where, you have to find the love in the map to get out of it. Like, that was all. The whole premise of the game is to find the love because the galaxy's been destroyed with this anti-love thing. So I'm sure they went home and told many stories to their parents that don't know what this game is.
Yeah, we're trying to find the love.
We found the love. But no, they had a great time, and I had enough controllers for everyone, and it worked out. Like, again, it was, some learning curve to it, but no, they found their stride and they did it. So, and they were so elated and delighted to beat a level, and they just kind of look at each other, and it was like a teamwork moment, and they all kind of like high-fived. It was great. It was awesome. It was a perfect end to the insanity that was that day. It was trying to figure out activities and such, where this kind of game came in to save the day. So it was good.
That is the best, and it's so rare. Because I'm thinking back to any time when you manage to get 3 buddies together, and you manage to get enough controllers.
Yeah, that one, yeah.
Because it's one of those promises. It's funny because it's one of those promises of gaming that for some way kind of never really came together, where it's like you and like all your friends can like sit here and play it, but it was so complicated.
Yeah, I know, right?
But when you finally got it down, like I remember we did it once with PS1, and we had some crazy setup with the controllers, but ended up being 5 of us playing hockey, playing NHL. So that would have been maybe something like 2000, I suppose, back then. But we were all one team, which is awful. Like it was so hard because usually at least it's like you and the rest of the people know what they're doing. But this is just this is worse than like Little League hockey because it's just people bumbling all over the place. It was terrible. But eventually, after so long, we got into this tournament playing Team Canada, and we started to win, and we started to do it. And the elation, the celebration, as like you and 3 buddies came together to actually accomplish something was fantastic. But so rare. How often did you pull that off?
Again, like you said, it was a rare one at a time kind of thing where you'd have had that many people with that much, time block at the same time to get that all together. So it was good to see this thing kind of come together in front of me and have that pass the torch, so to speak. Yeah. And how games can be interactive that way.
I guess when I pitch it like that, though, I think the system that probably did it the absolute best was the N64.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Because it was built with 4 ports in the front.
Yes, which was a huge technological leap at that time. Otherwise, you'd have to buy that like multi-port thing or whatever that edition was.
And just so many of the games were built for it. Like the system had just an absolute ton.
Yeah.
So I guess that system really promoted it. It's wild. And I've never really, I don't know that I've ever had 4. Which system did you do this on? PlayStation, I assume?
Yeah, PS4. So it was, I had 4 controllers. One was,
one was garbage? Was one garbage?
Yeah, one was kind of not in the best shape, I will say.
Was it Mad Cat?
It wasn't Mad Cat. It was just a used Sony PlayStation controller. So it wasn't as bad as a Mad Cat's where the buttons are in a different format or whatever.
Just flat along the top, like some weird configuration.
Yeah, one wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't plugged in or something. But no, it was. I had 4. I had enough, and the kids had a blast. It was good. It was good to see.
Oh, that's so amazing. It'd be interesting if it's like you almost like foster it, like try to. It seems like something you'd really have to try to do nowadays, as far as getting 4 people in a room playing it. And the systems are so much better set up for it because it's all wireless now with these 4 controllers, sync it, play it.
And that was another thing that crawled through my head when they were jumping all around. And they had the controllers in their hands. So if that thing was wired, that console would have been like whipped across the room at that point. So no, everything is, again, set up to do it. And some games take full advantage of that. That's one game in particular that is kind of a good teamwork co-op aspect. No one's killing each other or trying to win or whatever. Yeah. You're all doing it together. So
no, that game's incredible. The aesthetics, like the gameplay, like the aesthetics gorgeous. The gameplay concept is fresh and like it's such a fun conceit.
Yeah, and it's again easy to get into, but kind of difficult to master. So it's like one of those games where you can truck along on casual mode and see what happens.
Now, I know that game is coming to Switch.
It is.
So just saying.
Just saying. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
You get yourself 4 Joy-Cons. And
that's right, yeah.
Bring it to a party. And
jeez. Yeah, just set it up on the table and be like the commercials. I'm good.
Yeah, quick Switch update. Is there any new games, or have you refrained and you've held strong?
So, Trevor, something was missing in my life.
There's something missing every week. First, it was a Switch that was missing. And then it was Mario Kart.
I know. It was a follow-up to last week. He was, I bought Zelda at a used guy. It was a guy that's selling a Zelda, and I bought it. So I have Breath of the Wild.
That's Have you played it? That game looks so good.
It sinks so many hours into it, and I don't even know. Like at 11 o'clock, I'll like hop on. Just it's after the day's events, whatever, and I'll be up to I'll look at the clock. I'll be like 1:30. I'm like, oh my god,
oh no, I'm an adult. I can't do this.
And honestly, it's like one of those games where you're just addicted to it. You're like, shiny things everywhere. You're like, oh, I wonder what this does, and you go over and you're lost for an hour or two, and you're not even doing the main quest anymore. You're just doing all sorts of other stuff. So God.
Man, that's fantastic. Man, I can't believe you got that one. That's huge.
And it's super cheap price. The guy was selling it for $50, which is crazy up here. Like they go for at least 70 or full price, which is 80. So no, the guy was really cool about it.
Was it a little kid that it was weird to buy from?
No,
or was
he was another dad, which is perfect. And he had like a little 3D printed mini case with it. And he's like, yeah, here, take this thing too. I'm like, sweet. And he saw the kids in the car. He's like, have at it. It's great. And he wasn't giving it up. He was just buying digital because he just didn't want to go the convenience factor again, right? So I'm like, no, of course, this is great. So
did you tell him about the podcast?
I totally said I'm going to feature it on the podcast. So I wonder if he's going to tune in. But I've even had the kids play it, and they've had a blast on it. Yeah. It's a little difficult, but
so if you're out there, thanks for selling the game. Fantastic. Yeah. Thank you, perfect. Gaming Dad, for not being creepy. Very great.
Yeah. Yep. But that's it. I'm not. No more.
That's there's no way that's it.
No, that's a lot.
It's gonna be the weekly game update.
No, it's the big three. You got Mario Kart, and Zelda.
That is
nothing else really big out there, right? I don't know.
So it's not just going to be a watch. Like, it should be Jeff Watch. Is this the week he cracks? Has he broken down and bought something new? There was something missing in my life.
I know. Yep. We'll wait.
Splatoon 2. I had to get into Splatoon.
Yeah, you know what? I don't know. I say that every week, but
that one looks kind of cute, actually. Cause
it does.
Again, just something with a really fun conceit to it, where it's just off the wall. Classic Nintendo.
It's like
Smash Brothers coming out.
Yeah, I know. Again, I'm not like rolling in the dough here. It's just like these used games pop up, and I'm like, I'm taking advantage of this. This is what's gonna happen now. So, deal.
Well, I got no new DS games. If that makes you feel any better. Still haven't beaten Mario, but. I put in some hours to that. That was great, and it's going to be actually. There's a correction.
Oh,
I said last week, and I need to clear my name. I had said I'd never beaten a Mario game.
Right, you did say that. I have that on tape.
you have that tattooed somewhere. No, that wasn't true. I did beat Mario 64.
Oh, okay.
Not as a kid, because I never owned the console as a kid. So like as an adult, I'd picked up a used one. Same one that I have now. Actually, I have two N64s. In order to get some games, I had to buy a whole separate system.
Oh, really?
They were selling it for like $50 plus controllers. So it's just like, okay, I'll combine these two N64s, and now like it's a more complete collection.
Wow.
Anyway, I had beaten Mario 64. That is the one Mario game I've beaten, and I'm committed to beating this Mario DS, which it's still just like. Oh, that's joy per minute. Like it's so many fun, wacky little things. It's so cute. Like Nintendo does it. I think that's one of the thoughts I had during the week, where I would implore dads out there to possibly look into some old Nintendo stuff, or like you can get some cheaper things. If it's a DS, if it's a Wii, which you can find for like Value Village or like pawn shops for like $20.
Oh, for sure, the Wii with the Mario Galaxy. Yeah.
Like the games are just so. We feature like a lot of heavy games, a lot of not dark games, but just intense games.
Yeah, intense. Yeah.
Like Mario is almost like a vacation. Like Nintendo games are almost like a vacation, where it's just so charming and nice and light and fun. Like I would recommend it, honestly. It's kind of like a palate cleanser. You kind of forget sometimes how light and fun gaming can be, and I think Nintendo does a great job reminding you that.
For sure. It's it's another breath of childhood for me, where you can see the playfulness of Nintendo come back, and you're like, I love it. Little coin sounds, I love it. It's like just Pavlov's dog, right? With the coin sound, like, what?
Ding,
Mario?
ding.
Nintendo? It's great.
What do you want me to do? Okay, anything you want.
Perfect. I'll buy another game.
But that is too perfect a transition not to take, because these are all older systems.
Yes.
Gaming dads, these are systems that we grew up with. And with it comes certain knowledge of the system, certain vernacular, certain acronyms that possibly the new generation doesn't quite understand. And that's very much where this week's Gaming Dad Victory of the Week comes from. Each week feature an exceptional gaming dad and often their kids who are doing fatherhood and gaming so well. So this week's victory goes to Reddit user notmattshaw, who gave a lesson to his son in proper use of old gaming acronyms. So and we're just going to read it straight because it needs no filler. This is fantastic. So here's how the conversation went with notmattshaw and his son.
Here, do you want to play the son? I'll play the dad. You want to?
That sounds fantastic.
All right,
I'll be the 15-year-old son.
Okay.
So I am rushing through the kitchen to grab dinner because I am in the middle of a game of Fortnite on Xbox. I have to hurry. I'm AFK.
You don't even have a K.
What are you talking about?
You're playing Xbox. You don't... Wait. Do you even know what AFK stands for?
Sure. AFK. Away from controller.
Literally in brackets. Just...
Away from controller spelled with a K.
Yep.
Oh, exactly. Let's just sit in the silence for a second. It's good.
It kind of works, right? If you do the Mortal Kombat way of spelling, and he is away from the game.
But it, much like the old floppy disk that's used to represent save everywhere.
Yes, that's true.
Which people would have no reference for. It's one of those weird artifacts that just continues on.
Yep.
Now, of course, keyboard very much being still part of gaming for it. But if you had a kid who's console gaming and someone said AFK to mean I'm just gone. Oh, AFK just means I'm gone. There's no connection. It's like
and just to like kind of put this into perspective of what the dads have to deal with all new jargon cropping up and dabbing and Fortnite emotes and all this stuff, and then AFK comes into play. You're like, hey, I know that one. You're using it wrong.
I'm the one that has the gaming knowledge now. I did it. Gaming dad. Away from. I'm a little surprised though, I wonder if it's typed in game. Like if you do like a quick message to your squad mates or anything else, would you say AFK? Or that's a super fast acronym to mention that. Like I'm gone. Like what else would you say? AFC, but that's not what.
No, it'd be like I don't know. Be right back. B or B. I don't know.
Yeah, so much like the floppy disk icon. I guess AFK has very much become the new. It doesn't so much mean the keyboard. It's just it means that I'm gone.
Yeah, you're gone.
The curiosity being that like. Gaming still very much features keyboards.
Yeah, and it totally, yes, it still works. It's just funny how it came about.
I'm AFK away from controller.
I'd be interested if there's an update on if he still uses it, but we'll see.
Yeah, it'd be great to see. Would love to hear from notmattshaw again with an update on that, but kudos to the gaming dad for a gaming education to his son, and accordingly... And of course, a nod to the son as well. Don't feel bad. I cannot imagine the gaming knowledge you have that we don't. So it all evens out in the wash. So fantastic story. Thanks so much for sharing, and thanks so much for letting us feature it. And well deserving of this week's Gaming Dad Victory of the Week. If you would like to be nominated for Gaming Dad Victory of the Week or know somebody else deserving, please write to us and find us at our website, newdadgaming.com.
Hey, new dads, listen up as we go over this week's highlights and what happened of the world of gaming. CG Project Red surprised everyone this week with 48 minutes of glorious gameplay of Cyberpunk 2077. While everything was shown was still a work in progress, it's apparently the same video that was shown only to media at E3 back in June. If you're a fan of The Witcher, which I am, or other games like Deus Ex, or even a movie fan of Blade Runner, I encourage you to block out some dad time and watch this full video. We'll see the final product probably years into the future, but we can see that the high level polish is already in this video. So if anybody can pull off this stunning project, it's probably CD Projekt Red. And those that have bought any kind of game this generation will know that usually all you get is a case and the game with usually nothing else. No instructions, nothing. Well, Nintendo is trying to change that by including mini strategy guides in their big name releases like Mario and Zelda. Well, this is no doubt a welcome change. Somewhere along the line, we lost those manuals that used to be included with every video game. Here's hoping this trend continues, because even I can remember countless hours of going through those manuals, reading character bios, studying button combinations, among other nuggets of information that would enhance that gaming experience. And speaking of Nintendo, they will be launching Nintendo Labo workshops across the USA to get kids interested in that Switch cardboard accessory. Tickets are free and on a first-come, first-served basis, so hit up their website ASAP if you are interested. Best part is that you get to keep your cardboard creation, but unfortunately you can't keep the Switch you'll be playing it on. Still a neat idea if you are able to check it out. And Battlefield 5 has officially been delayed. The title will no longer launch between the gaming juggernauts Call of Duty and Red Dead Redemption, which is probably a smart move for the company. Citing it's to ensure more time for refinement of the core gameplay, the new launch date will be November 20th and will come with a, wait for it, new Battle Royale mode at launch. So if you are a Battlefield fan, be sure to mark it on your Christmas wish list for later this year. And Square Enix has announced a partnership with Tencent, the world's largest investment company, and also co-owners of other gaming franchises like Epic, Riot Games, and publishers of PUBG in China. Many are not sure what this means for Square Enix, but we hope that it's an accelerated development time with access to more capital cash, but many are also saying this will be a further dilution to Square Enix's offerings by porting more of those Final Fantasies and Kingdom Hearts and other franchises into the mobile arena. I personally would hope that this partnership would get Final Fantasy VII Remake out the door before my kids go off to college, but I'm not holding my breath. And as for gaming releases this week, some highlights include Divinity Original Sin 2 and Prison Architect Escape Mode for PS4 and Xbox, Dust and Elysian Tale for the Switch, 2 Point Hospital for the PC, and just a mention of September freebies, PS Plus offers Destiny 2 and God of War 3, and Xbox Games with Gold gives you Prison Architect, Live Lock, and For Honor. That's it for the gaming news this week. Catch a nap and tune in next week for another update.
Okay, so one real quick, like Dust and Elysian Tale, did you mention?
Yes.
For Switch?
For the Switch.
Had you ever played that?
I did on, I think it was PS4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, like, I'd really going to implore you to buy it on the Switch, because that's one of my favorite games. Like that game was stunning.
Yeah, it would fit that handheld pretty. See, I call it a handheld because that's where I play it. So it would be a perfect console for that, because I didn't find the time to play through it on the PS4.
Okay. Yeah, so if it's a decent price, it might be what you're missing in your life next week.
That's right. I'll give you another update. Yeah.
But before we continue, we have sweating, delicious, perforated. Yeah, no, I want to get rid of sweating. That's disgusting.
Well,
but before we go on, we have in front of us tasty-looking, delicious-looking beers. We will not go further without opening them. I am awfully thirsty. So it's time for New Dad Gaming Beer Pick of the Week.
Hey.
So we're celebrating the end of the summer by featuring delicious ales, lagers, and others as suggested from the New Dad community. If you have any suggestions for us, we really want to find a wide selection of beers. So again, on the Facebook page, website, Twitter, wherever you can find at us. Now, this week's suggestion comes from Tori on the Facebook page with an excellent classic wheat ale to start things off. So this is the Blue Moon, or Belgian Moon, as it's called in Canada. Yeah. So that's an interesting story, because it was mentioned as Blue Moon, and that's kind of what, like, Jeff, you and I knew that as.
Right.
I knew it as Blue Moon. So it was bizarre to find it here in Canada as Belgian Moon, but apparently that's a very conscious choice. So we found online like a reference to it. Blue Moon Belgian White is called Belgian Moon in Canada in order to differentiate ourselves from a Labatt Blue beer.
Which is hilarious.
It's a pretty far cry from Labatt Blue. But I'm gonna be curious of your take on this.
I'm gonna be curious of my take of this, because if anybody has seen past episodes, not sure I'm quite the fan of wheat white beers, but we will
especially
see.
Brewed with Valencia orange peel for a refreshing citrus taste. Bring out the flavor by serving it with a wheat beer glass with an orange slice.
That's what I'm talking about right there. So that will be an experience.
Alrighty, so let's go ahead and do this.
All right.
Got it in front of us. Go for a cheers.
All right. Cheers. Let's see.
That's the sound of summer right there. All right. What's your take?
Here we go. So, who's going to go first on this one?
I'm positive on it, so I think I'll take it. That is delicious. I have had this before, although only at the behest of this Gaming Dad suggestion from Tori. Because it's funny because it's one of those beers that it's always around. You've always seen it, and I've always held it in high regard because people have always said great things about it. So this is kind of the opportunity to say, yeah, I actually have a taste of it, and I thought it was delicious. So it's refreshing, it's a really smooth taste. I found the orange is very subtle in a very kind of a very nice fashion, akin to very, very different, but akin to when you add a lime to a Corona, in a sense that it just kind of adds that little bit of a taste to it. It's not this. It's really hard to describe it that way because that's very much different. But it's got a really nice bit of it to it, very smooth, very refreshing, especially if it's cool and you're barbecuing or if you are outside in the summer. I thought it was delicious. Jeff?
Well, okay, again, I preempted this. I am not a fan of wheat beers, and this is definitely a wheat beer. So, delicious is not on the scale of what I would rate this. I will say I agree with you that you can't really taste that citrus flavor, which I enjoy because I don't like my beers too citrusy. I don't find that mixes well.
Can you notice it though?
Not really. I find it's more of the wheat taste of it that I think maybe the more I drink it, the
more you'll find the orange.
Yeah, but it's not really readily apparent.
It's not offensive. It's not slamming you in the face. Something like a shock top, for instance, would have more of a
definitely
be a bit more in your face about it. Where this is subdued and subtle and smooth and nice. So it's funny because if you ask me, do I like wheat beer? Honestly, my response is no. Mm-hmm. There's something about a straight wheat beer that's just so.
It's intense. It's pungent. Is pungent the right word? I don't know. It's a specific flavor.
Yeah, and it's just that registry of it's just not what I'm looking for when I'm reaching for a beer in so many cases. But I actually found this Blue Moon or Belgian Moon to really hit that right balance. There's very few wheat beers I like, and this has actually struck it. So this is delicious. I would go with the dad recommendation for this.
I would go with recommendation for maybe marinating steaks or something.
I think we'd have to set the scale because I think I could speak for you where it's just often I'll find sometimes when I'm drinking a beer, I can tell that just I don't like it.
Yeah, but you
can tell that it's this is
yeah.
I could see why people would like this. This is of a quality.
Yeah.
As opposed to some stuff we've tried where it's just this is disgusting.
No. This is for a specific type of person, I think. That would if you maybe not if you don't like wheat beers, like you said, you even enjoy it, right? Where it's again not in your face.
I think it's a bit of a wheat beer for people who don't even necessarily like wheat beer. Mm-hmm. If you're not entirely turned off by it, it could be a good option, and it's well worth a try.
Agreed.
So delicious, great way to top it off. Now we've got these great beers to drink through the rest of the show. So cheers and thank you to Tori. If anybody wants to send beer recommendations to the channel, please reach out to us. We'd love to get some more. Now, on to the topics at hand. Destiny 2 as a PlayStation Plus freebie.
Yes.
That's wild. We are in the midst of a dad experiment where you and I are playing Warframe.
Right.
Which is
Destiny.
Which is very much Destiny. It's a more intense, more involved Destiny.
Yeah.
We'll do the full review, but it's really kind of stunning how it doesn't do justice to either to say they're similar, but it cut from the same cloth in very different, but then they went very different directions. So but you and I were remarking during our playthrough together, it's wild that this is free. Like it.
It is like the amount of game and the quality of it, for sure. It is wild that it's free. And now you
And
get
then
Destiny 2.
this week, Destiny 2 is free.
Yeah, which is again AAA. It's a AAA game, whether you like it or not. But it's up there. It's got budget.
It'd be interesting to see how much money they pull in and how many extra players. I almost hope that it does astronomically well. Because the truth about it is, I bought the game. I don't have any regrets about buying it. I enjoyed it. I pitched it as a dad game because I thought it was sessionable and you can kind of just get in and get out. For some of the activities, not everything of it is certainly dad friendly, but enough of it, I liked it a lot. So no regrets. But so much of it is monetized. Like if you want to buy shaders, if you want to buy this skin or buy this, what do you call it, ship or any of the other stuff, like it's currency in game to buy, which is even worse and ends up being kind of loot grams with the, or loot crates with the engrams. So you purchase currency to buy these things, which then it's like,
you're not really selling this to me.
Yeah, it's not important. It's not key to it, but it's
it's part of the experience, right?
It's there in it, right? So, but there's a lot of it, and then there's the season passes. So all this new content, all these new game modes, all this extra gear, all the extra leveling,
right?
It's behind paywalls.
I was gonna ask you that question before you move on. Is, as a new player jumping in, is this something that's going to be fun going against? Like, am I paired up with people that have been there forever, or am I gonna hit a paywall where I can't do a level?
It'd be fine. You'd be able to go through the story, which it is an excellent story. It's a lot of fun, and that's a fun thing too. It is a fun game to do by yourself. In doing so, you have to reach some levels. So
okay,
you're playing through the story, and it's like, oh, you need to grind a little bit, but it's really not obtuse. And at that point, you'll kind of be introduced to other players. But very subtly, a nice quiet one where it's a public event. You show up to it, and 3 other guardians show up to it, other players, and it's actually super helpful because they're all doing the same thing. And if you have to kill something or kill a bunch of dudes, it's very beneficial to have an extra person there, or 2 or 3. So it's good. So for free, the thought that you can go through the entire thing, get a little taste of it, sample it. Is this a game that I want to play? Is this something I want to continue? And then like decide to fork out the extra cash for the full expansion, which I don't know how much is the expansion.
I am reading that now. It is $60 for the expansion and Forsaken. So if you want both those two with the new expansion, then it's $60. So
does that include the previous 2 expansions? Does it mention?
I imagine it would if it's the expansion pass. I imagine you get every previous one, and then plus the Forsaken newbie.
Okay. Does it have a Forsaken alone? As I understand it, and anybody write in if I'm off on this, but Forsaken itself is the new expansion.
Yes.
And then they've had previously 2 other expansions.
Yes.
So I don't know if you can just buy Forsaken on its own, or you have to have the other 2.
Oh God. Yeah, like I'm just thinking about like player segregation and all that stuff. Like, I don't know how you split. Oh no, it's on sale by itself, $40 US. That is crazy to me. But maybe it's like a whole new game. Again, I'm not really in the Destiny world.
It is. It's kind of appropriate though. It's almost weird that the game costs so much to begin with, because there's so many microtransactions and they're going to have these kind of seasons. It's very much an MMO. Like there's no way around it. Like that, you have clans, you have groups, you have like big events, you have raids. Like it is an MMO. And other games like World of Warcraft, it's like $13 a month or whatever the monthly fee is.
Right.
So, $60 every year or it's twice a year. Well, I guess I suppose at this time, like this game is less than a year old, and there's been 3 expansions.
Yeah.
For theoretically $40 each. So if that's your jam,
that's what you're. Yeah, and I will say the hard drive space in this sucker is 104 gigs. So you need either a great internet connection or the hard drive expansion hard drive on this PS4.
This is going to be your dad night to
play
this game. Make sure you have this planned out well in advance.
That's right. Yeah.
Forgot about that
That's
one.
a lot. That's almost as much as Doom, though. Doom is pretty high on that, too. So
it's super interesting. So if you have PS Plus, you've been on the fence a little bit, I'd dive in. I still recommend it. I think it's fun, and I think you'd be able to play through the normal single-player campaign, have a great time, and then dip out. Or if it really sings to you, it's kind of like you can get that and all these expansions for the cost of what the game would be.
Right.
So that's a decent deal. And I'm, like I said, it's going to be interesting to watch, because maybe if it's super popular and it gets a bunch of people in, they'll just release free Destiny games and everything else is just DLC.
Yeah, we'll see. I'll download it and dive in to test it out.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that there was a single player either.
Oh yeah, it's a really good. It's pretty long. It takes a while.
Yeah,
it's meaty.
I thought it was just all multiplayer story. Do you know what I mean? Like you had things to do with other, like kind of like Warframe, where you could play through it by yourself. But again, we'll talk about that later. But maybe I'll dive into this one when it goes free, and then we can have that kind of talk on Warframe versus
absolutely.
Destiny 2.
Okay. See, then we'll sound super informed.
Totally.
We are super informed gamer dads right here.
That's right.
And just the last thing I'd want to touch on quick, though, is just are you hyped for Cyberpunk 2077?
I am totally hyped for it, and I wasn't before. But
wow, the trailer did it. They got to you.
It's just so
There's just
interesting.
something missing in my life, and
it's really interesting, and how I don't know how they're going to pull it off, but this is the company to do it. The one quest they show you, again, everyone should check it out. The one quest they show, there's like 5 different ways to complete it, and it's one side quest of like 100. So, and they say it's totally going to affect your entire world. Like there'll be repercussions. So, I experienced some of that in The Witcher, where you didn't help out one guy and his horse, and his house burnt down later, and you're like, oh yeah, it's that guy. I should have helped him out. But it's that kind of stuff that they're really good at doing. So I don't know, man. I'm really hyped. I don't like the first personness of it. I like my third person, but I can totally see why they did it, and it looks gorgeous. I don't know how they're gonna pull that off on a PS4. On a PC, I can see it. I'm not sure on a PS4 Pro, maybe. So that might be an upgrade in the future. I don't know.
Yeah, I honestly haven't even watched the trailer. I should make sure I take a look.
You need to watch it if you can. 1080p or 4K, they have those available, and it is gorgeous.
Yeah, I know that company's amazing. I just also know that they're huge, massive games. I mean, your year of Witcher.
Oh yeah, this will take forever. This won't even.
It's just my bad. I literally have, and I'll talk about it next episode. Like I have a written paper list of the games that I want to beat, because it's just I'm really getting. It's really upsetting me now. Where it's just like there's so many of these games. There's so many. Like I'd spent so much time in Hearthstone and other. In Destiny and even No Man's Sky. Oh, that's on the list as far as like the campaign part of it. But there's so many of these other these huge, Elite Dangerous, like
God of War, maybe? Have you defeated God of War yet?
I have not beat God of War yet. That's on the list. That's number 2. I'll give you a slight preview. I'm going to run down the entire list next week, but the top of my list is Moss.
Oh man, holy!
I know. I was so bullish on that game.
You were.
I said that's one of the funnest. I had said as one of the greatest games I've ever played.
Yeah.
And I proceeded to not beat it. And there's no way there's that much left.
See, this kind of but it kind of speaks to dad life, right? You'd have to get the VR headset out. You'd have to put it on. You have to make sure that no one's around you.
Yeah.
At all times.
One thing that held me back with that, and this, man, we're basically building our next episode.
It's true.
The one thing that's been holding me back is because of the current sleep patterns right now that we have. My older son is waking up all the time, like 2 or 3 times a night, and same with the little guy, my 1-year-old. So it's like if I'm strapped in and I have headphones on and I'm just in an entire different world.
Yeah.
And we got 2 babies like crying and like running around upstairs. Like I can't. It really feels like I'm just abandoning everything and like, all right, I'm going to the virtual reality.
I'm escaping reality.
So, but we'll get into that a little bit next week because we do have to wrap it up. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. This has been New Dad Gaming. If you'd like to get a hold of us, you can find us on our website at newdadgaming.com. You can reach us there for beer picks. You can reach us there for Gaming Dad Victories of the Week. You can also find us on the social networks. So you're looking at Facebook, Twitter, anything else. Would love to hear from you. Show notes, ideas, gaming picks, Gaming Dad Victory of the Week, beer picks. There's a lot to talk about. You can find us on Google Play, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and anywhere else you find your podcasting. If you can give us a rating, a subscription, and pass us along to a new dad who games. Thanks again, and until next week, my name is Trevor, and I have a 3-year-old and an almost 1-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have an 8-year-old, a 5-year-old, and I'll be sipping my Belgian Moon playing some Zelda.
Oh, Dad heaven.
Yeah,
you made it. See you next week.
See ya.